Redesign with Prima group. I don't ever know how to address you guys, but welcome to the Redesign with Prima group. My name is Leah, and I am a decorative furniture painter at Leah Noell Design Co. and a brand ambassador here at Redesign with Prima. So I will be live here every Tuesday in the month of May at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time to give you guys some tips on how to use Prima products and just kind of show you some of the new stuff we have going on here. So if you are here, say hello. I see we have one viewer. So I'm gonna kind of wait a minute to make sure that we are in the right group. So if you're here, say hello. And let me know that you guys can see and hear me okay. I'm gonna kind of just talk a little bit about what I have going on here while I wait to make sure everything's just kind of working okay. So if this is the replay, go ahead and you can hit hashtag replay. This is the new Redesign with Prima transfer called in Blossom Flight. Blossom Flight. So if you guys didn't know, this product, this transfer launched on Friday. And so I actually created the front of this with this. I created the front here. If you guys want to see, I don't know if you guys have seen this picture already. I know it was shared in this group and it was shared on my page. So this is the In Blossom Flight right here. And what I did is I wanted to be able to have something to show you guys the new transfer on. And so I just did the front and I did the sides. The sides actually correlate with a new release we're having June 1st. So that kind of gives you a tip on maybe it might have something to do with this transfer. So I did the sides. You guys will see the sides June 1st because they correlate with that release. But I really want to show you guys how to do the inside of like how to use a transfer, what to protect it with. On the inside, I may actually use some molds on the inside too later. This is for a client who has really bought a lot of furniture from me, and she lets me do whatever I want. So I like to make things extra special for her. So that is the inside of the piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that today, but the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is when to paint the insides of the drawers. So this piece was actually at my parents' house. I grabbed it straight out of their living room. And this is an antique. It really didn't need to be painted, but they were done using it. And nobody buys wood from me, at least. So I have a very happy client with this piece here. So I'm just gonna bend this down a little bit. And I'm gonna get down here and I'm gonna talk to you guys about the drawer. So this opens up pretty nice. It's an antique, so it's kind of dainty. So it is a little like, you know, you may be able to fit like a MacBook on top here, but not much else because it's an antique. It's not made for the heavy use we really use today. It's made for like little dainty letters that you would have written back in the day. So that's the inside. I spray painted these shelves. Hi, Claudia. I spray painted the shelves right there with a Rust-Oleum spray paint because it's just easier to spray. I was not hand painting those, so I just spray painted those. And then this is the drawer. So the drawer, these are the original hardware. I want you to listen to this drawer as I open it, okay? Do you hear that? It's kind of rough. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it out. And I've painted the sides because they were kind of ugly, okay? So how I kind of decide what product I'm gonna use on my drawer sides depends on how well they slide in and out. So I know that this one kind of catches a little bit. There's not a lot of space in the drawer slide. So when I'm pulling it out, I can hear and it kind of struggles a little bit. So I know for sure I want to use an oil-based wax to seal the sides of my drawers. Thank you, Claudia. Hi, Cindy. I can finally see your comments. Yay. Okay, so I want to use a very thin product. Usually on my drawer sides, I only use one coat of primer, one coat of paint. So that's what I have here. I may not even have a coat of primer. I can't remember. But that is the drawer side. The inside of the drawer will also be painted because it just doesn't look pretty. So I will paint or I will paper the inside of the drawer. I don't Sometimes, you know, I've never done this, but this one might be a good like test to do this on, is just painting the inside of the drawer and adding a transfer. A lot of times I just use paper though, like wrapping paper or something cheaper than a transfer. So this is the Good Morning Valerie. So this is the drawer side. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this up here. And what I wanted to say today is I pulled out some of the things I was gonna use. So I was thinking about using some of the tissues, but the tissues are thicker than the transfer. So I don't feel like the tissues would be a good option for this. These would be a good option for, you know, maybe a newer piece that like a jewelry box or something that isn't really like rubbing. You can't hear that like chalkboard, nails on a chalkboard, screechy rub on the sides of your drawers. These might make the drawers catch too much. So these are not the product I'm gonna use on this piece specifically. These are great for like French provincial dressers, maybe dressers that were built in the 60s that don't really have that kind of problem. They have more running space. And as you do more furniture, you'll realize the pieces that will, like, you'll realize how your drawers work. So antique, we want something thin. And I want something that can be distressed. So when I'm doing drawers, and I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna sit back up here because this is very uncomfortable. So when I'm doing drawers, I don't ever buy a new transfer. For my drawer size, I use what I have. So the Blossom Flight, I do want to use on the inside here. I have these solid transfers that I've had for a while. This one is called Tea Rose Garden, which I usually use these on the drawer sides because they're solid. But this is a little bit dark. I'll show you guys this one because this is a cool one. And I've used this on drawer sides a lot. This is just a solid print, okay? So your Prima, this is an old one. Your Prima retailer may or may not have it. But that's always a good one. The solid ones are always good to use, and they come solid like this. What I think I'm gonna use today, I decided, is I like this. I have this Persian butterfly transfer that I use the birds out of in the summer. And this is what I have left. So this is left over. This one was actually 4 sheets. And so I only used the birds. And so I have the butterflies. I have the script, which I wish we just had a really, I don't know if we do, a really big, I just want lots of sheets of these. I love these. These are my favorites. I don't use them, because I don't have a big enough one. We do have a stencil. And I end up using the stencil, but I would prefer to use a transfer if I had more of them. Hint, hint. I'm just teasing. So, and then these are the butterflies. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna line up some butterflies and distress them, or we could even do words. What do you guys want to see? I would use the script on the sides here, but it would be black script against this pink color. Or we could do this color. Or I was just thinking about just lining up a couple butterflies. Maybe some of the script and then some of the butterflies over. What if we do that today? And I want to use this one with the more words because I can see it better. Hi, Roz. So I'm going to go ahead and start. And I'm going to distress this too. I'm going to distress the sides of my drawers. And the reason I'm going to distress it is because they're going to be distressed anyway. So as I'm putting them on and I'm applying them, I'm going to think that I want them to go on distressed looking, and I want to seal them with an oil-based wax. So like a min wax, something like this, something oil-based, so that when they run, they're running smooth. I don't want to seal my drawer sides with a polyacrylic, because they just don't run as smooth as they do with like a drawer wax. The butterflies are pretty. Awesome. We'll do butterflies. So I might actually add some in some of the strips. So I'm just going to scoot this back so I don't scratch it. Just going to scoot it back a little. So that we can work and you guys can see. Trying to think of how. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out some of the butterflies that I'm going to use. So I like the green and pink a lot. So like I said, these are leftover. Drawer sides are for leftover transfers. Good morning, Renee. How are you? You guys, Renee is Redesign by Renee Co. is a new Prima Redesign Prima retailer. She is. I think she's just brand new. So if you need some Prima, she is a retailer that is on this feed. Oh, I love this one. All right, so I'm not gonna cut anymore. I'm just gonna work with what I have right here. I wanna keep you guys interested and make sure I'm giving you a good tutorial and we're not just cutting paper out the whole time. So this is the side of this one. I'm gonna just find something to kind of lift this up on, maybe. All right, no. All right, we're gonna see if my footstool will work. And then we'll bring this in. Thank you so much, Nicole. This was a fun one to work on. Okay, oh gosh, okay, cool. I think we could see pretty well like that. So I was thinking of just like maybe a couple little, like some of the lettering and then just kind of have some butterflies all around it. So let's do that. I want this for, I was either thinking some of this for fill, or what do you guys think about just lining up the butterflies? Let's just line up the butterflies. Let's just make it easy. Or should we layer that script? I don't know. You know, because we could do line them up like this. 1, 2, 3. Just 1, 2, 3. Let's just do 1, 2, 3. Or we can layer it. You want to see me layer it? What do you guys want to see? Layer? Raz says layer, so we'll layer. All right, let's do some layering. Where did I put the one? Okay, this one's sticky, so I'm just gonna stick her over here. All right, I'm not crazy about this one. I am gonna use this one. I think that'll be less going on, and it'll look better just. Oh. But I want to save this one. Let's do this one because I'm going to put some butterflies over it. Okay. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm really not, I'm just going to be thoroughly honest with you guys. I am not into big verbiage on anything. I like scripts, but I just don't prefer big verbiage. Not my thing. All right, so I'm kind of softly peeling that back, but this will be perfect for a drawer side. I'm just gonna center this because I'm gonna put those butterflies on. thinking right here. I don't know if I want to go here because no one's ever going to pull this drawer out to here and then just layer those butterflies over it. Maybe we'll do that. Let's do that. Okay. So this should probably go on easy. So my chalk paint is not sealed on my drawer sides. It's sealed. I did seal it on the front. It is not sealed on my drawer sides. So this is just the stick that comes in the packing. I think they work fine. The only thing is if I rub it over here, which, oh gosh, it's so chalky. Sometimes when I rub it, the wood is stained, so it will leave a mark on my piece. So I try not to do that. There is a transfer tool you can get that's like a plastic transfer tool. I hear it's life-changing. I don't have one. I need to order one. Look at how easy that's going on. And this will be super distressed. I'm actually going to distress this a little bit before I put the butterfly on. So how is everybody doing? Do you guys like the new transfers? I think Prima knocked them out of the park with the one I used on this piece, the Blossom Flight. If you haven't ordered yours already, I would. I have a feeling those are going to be on back order. Or they're going to sell out. I don't know if they go on back order, if they sell out, but that is definitely popular. The other one I've used already is the Lilac Fields, and that's like almost like a watercolor look. And that one was really pretty. Like the flowers were different because they're like watercolory. They're really cool. All right, let's see. Oop. So as I pull up, I'm just gonna kind of keep pushing it down. I can tell it's not all the way adhered, but I like to use my fingers after I pull this off to adhere it really well. Sometimes I even go over it with my brayer. All right, this is not adhered well, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. It's not adhered well because I didn't sit here and rub it for a little bit longer, but it's lettering, so I prefer to just get that off and then rub it on. Hey, I'm live. Okay. Bye. It's chicken nugget time around here. My kids are like, are you ever going to go to the grocery store? Like, no, probably not. I don't want to go. I don't like going to the grocery store anyway. And now it's just super annoying. All right, so it's on. Now we're gonna sand it back just a little. Let me find a sander. All right, I wanna say this is the Surf Prep one. Very fine. Just fine sandpaper. It doesn't have to be special, just anything will work. And I'm just gonna lightly go over it. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna varnish it. By varnish, I mean, it's gonna kind of like, it's gonna rub it in and it's gonna get rid of any loose edges that otherwise would create moisture under them and sometimes pop up. So before I ever seal my transfers, I either use a sanding pad. I also use these. I get these on the Dixie Belle website, and these are called finishing pads. And these are just like when I want it to be not as distressed, I'll rub it with these. And this just kind of takes off. Let me rub it and see if I can. If you can see here, this is on a transfer I just used. And it takes off that little bit that otherwise would like kind of cause problems if you try to seal over it because the moisture gets underneath. So this just kind of takes off the excess. Okay, and it doesn't, if you can see, it doesn't distress it. But before I do this, I always make sure I rub it down well. Then I have my sanding pad, and I am gonna just lightly go over this to distress it. All right, we're not gonna do that too much. Now we're gonna go over these with our butterflies. So the first one I had grabbed was this one, and I think I'm just gonna kind of put that one like this. I'm gonna angle it. I'm gonna go over that big fat lettering that I don't love. Okay, so this is just layering a transfer. I think this was the last bird transfer we had. I might as well. I'm just gonna rub this on here. I don't know if it'll even stick well. Here we go. Okay. This is actually going on my paint really nice. This drawer side, it's decently smooth. I notice if I have texture or I've had factory finishes with heavy paintbrush marks on one dresser I did, and it took me forever to get the transfer on. So the smoother your surface is, the easier the transfer will be to use. So if you can see, I just peeled that off. I have a little leg left here. I didn't really want that on there. So I just kind of I don't know if I did this or not, or if it just happened, but if I want to make a cut, I kind of rub it really hard, right there. Does that make sense? So I'm just gonna go ahead and rub this on and make sure it's adhered well. Okay, so look at that. Isn't that cool? That's gonna look cool with the end blossom. I mean, it's just butterflies and pretty. And my client really wants, she wants fun. This is going in her living room. She said this is some of the first furniture that she's ever really just said, I don't care what my husband thinks. I want what I want, and I'm gonna get it. And so I'm like, I'm your girl, let's do it. So this piece is going in her living room, and she wanted fun. So we went with pink. All right, so that's on. And then I'm gonna kind of I almost only wanted 3. This drawer will never come out to here, so I'm really not even worried about this. I want it to look good to here, because if this dresser drawer is hanging out to here, it's gonna fall off. So I just am worried about this area right here. I want 3. I want 3 butterflies, because in design, you want everything in odd numbers. So we're gonna put a 3rd one right here, and he's gonna kind of angle. Just enough to make that not look so crazy. This color here, this pink, I just want to tell you guys, I have the perfect mix. It is terracotta, 50-50 mix of terracotta and rusty nail from Dixie Belle. And then I have a couple spoonfuls of peony in it, and it made this perfect blush pink. Blush pink is a hot color. It's been very trendy in furniture design and in homes, blush pink. So I've been all about it. Okay, so let's just push this down. You know, it's just hard to find a client who is so much fun that they're like, I don't care what my husband says, I want pink. And those are my kind of people. Okay, so I'm just gonna rub this down, make sure it's adhered. Let me give you this little tip if I can find it. So this is a brayer. This is a brayer and it's really made for decoupage, okay? And so I like to, sometimes this just helps me ease my mind. I like to just use this to rub this down. And I feel like that just gives me a little bit more adhesion. And then of course I always go through and rub it with my hands. Okay, so now I'm actually gonna use my finishing pad first. And the reason is if anything catches, I want it to catch on here because it's gonna tear it less than the sandpaper. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my finishing pad first and get any excess stuff off. And then I'm gonna go over it with my sandpaper. And I don't want to distress it too much. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because this drawer is gonna distress on its own. Ooh, that ink is running a little bit. Okay. Now I'm gonna go grab an oil-based wax and I'm gonna go over this. I'm gonna show you just how to do that. All right, so I loaded my brush up with oil-based wax and I'm just gonna, look at that color change. Can you guys see that? Hi, Shay. Hi, Shaz. I hope I said your name right. I apologize if I didn't. Thank you, Renee. Okay, so you can kind of see it, deepen the color a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and go over this with an oil-based wax. Dixie Belle's wax is not oil-based. So I use like just old wax that I don't really use anymore. I use Min Wax or Debbie's Design Diary is an oil-based wax, or Authentico has an oil-based wax, Annie Sloan. All of those paint brands usually have an oil-based wax. The Dixie Belle one is just not, it's not oil-based enough. So I use those to seal my drawer sides because it's gonna slide more. I put my wax right here. I'm not gonna do the inside because I still am gonna do something else to the inside. I'll put it right here. And I also flip it up. And I'll either use the Big Mama's Butter, which is Dixie Belle's like furniture slab, or I'll just wax it. If I have my wax out, I'll just wax it. The bottom here, it looks pretty rough. Like I said, it is an antique, so sometimes you get that. I probably won't paint my bottom, but I will paint the inside of this and possibly use a transfer. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Becky. All right, so okay, so that is how I do my drawer side for that. Let's move on to the inside of the piece, and I just kind of want to show you my tip for doing a secretary before we run out of time. I don't know if anyone's on after me. Roz, are you still on? Is Lou? I think Lou-Ann might be on. I think Lou-Ann might be on at 1. All right, let's put our drawer back in for now. And it's not going to slide great because I still have to do the other side. And I'm going to do the other side the same way. And I'd show you what it looks like on the inside, but I'm telling you, the sides of this piece, they have something on them that is releasing June 1st. So let's go ahead and put this stuff aside. All right, so when you're doing the inside of a secretary, if you guys have been here since the beginning, I know we have some new, okay, good. Thank you, Roz. I know we have some, a lot more people have hopped on, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Secretaries can be a little dainty, right? They were like made for, not for like heavy work, like I feel like we do today. So Maybe like a MacBook would fit on top of here just fine. This is the transfer that I used here. It's called Blossom Flight with the Eternal, of course, on my edges. So I have this little table here, and I have this table. This is my little shop table, and I took a towel and I put it here. So if I try to if I pull this down and I'm rubbing a transfer on here, I don't feel like these are strong enough to get that good adhesion. So I'm just gonna go ahead and lift it, and I'm gonna set it on here. And I'm putting this towel under here because I have this paint finish. I don't want to ruin it. Hang on. I'll line it up perfect. Okay. It is Blossom Flight. Yes. Has anyone gotten it yet or ordered it? It's really a cute transfer. So this has 1 coat of primer, 2 coats of vintage duck egg, and it is not sealed. So this is the Blossom Flight transfer has 3 sheets. If you guys are not familiar with the sheet sizing from Prima, this one I'll show you right here in case you're not. They're like this size, okay? They're this size. And there's 3 of them. And so I have used, oh my gosh, after my live, I always have a mess to clean up. And they have the dimensions on the back. All right, so if you're looking for the dimensions, they're right there on the website. And they'll tell you. These are 11.3, each sheet is 11.3 inches and 25 inches wide. So it tells you right on the back, which is so, so helpful. So with that, I was able to do the front, the sides, and I'm gonna just do the inside right through here. And then I'm thinking I may add a couple, maybe some molds in here. I don't know, I just want this piece to be extra, extra special. So I'm just gonna kind of take my transfer, and there's always a line. If you can see right here, there's always a line on them. And so I really try to design around that line. So this one looks like if I just take it off and set it here, it's gonna look pretty good. And then I want to kind of like, I may just cut that in half. I want to kind of mimic it over here a little bit and maybe have like a little bird right here. So, or maybe I'll just do this. Maybe I'll just do that there and this here. Because this one kind of comes up. Yeah, that could work too. And then just have this little birdie over here. Or I can do this. I just try to use as much of my transfer as I can. I really want to get as much out of it as possible. What do you guys think? Like that? Or we could even do it opposite. I'm going to cut this out a little more so I get a better shape. Transfer placement is so important. The more you can cut and think and design and place and ponder, usually the better your piece is going to look. So I do talk about it quite often because I feel like it is a very important part of designing your piece. Hi, Stacy. How are you? Oh, it's good to see you on here. Okay, so this one, I think maybe over here. Let's see. Might flow a little better. This one, I'm just gonna cut this out. Maybe that one over here at the bottom. I mean, ideally, I would want it just to go across the top, but that's not going to be possible with the pieces that I have, unless I did this. I'm open to any suggestions you guys have. thinking maybe like this, 2, 1, 2, and then like this. Oh yeah, I think that might work. I think that might work. You love the new transfer? Who has ordered it? I love it too. I have never been a bird person. I do not decorate with birds. I do not care for birds. I used to be very, very afraid of birds. I have gotten over that fear, but birds are not my thing. They're not. I find them to be a little creepy. But this transfer actually turned out really classy and really cute. And I think a lot of people actually use birds a lot in their decor. Okay, I think this is what I want. But 1, 2, 3. Maybe this over a little more. All right, we're gonna call that good enough. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take this off. And I'm gonna line this up. And I'm gonna off-center it because I'm actually gonna do something I don't normally do, and I'm gonna take all of these off the white paper so that I could really see. You went on a hunt for it. Oh, you haven't found anyone who has them in stock. Okay. Well, if you guys are a retailer around here and you do have them in stock, make sure you drop your link so that everyone can find them. I want to put this over here. I'm going to take this right here. I have this cut out. This is like dangerous, but I'm going to try it. Because sometimes this gets, oh yeah, that's going to get stuck on my scissor. But I want to cut that like that. Oh, you guys can't even see. This is dangerous. I usually only ever do this with the white paper on, but I want to cut around that because I want to place this around my hinge. And I just have to cut a little more closer to my bird. This is a really bad idea because your transfer will stick to your scissors, but I'm gambling. So I feel like gambling today. It's about as much as I gamble. All right, so that will be over my hinge, but it's okay. I'm feeling a lot more confident in my design with it like that. This over here, raise it just a little. And this right here, I'm feeling a whole heck of a lot better with this over more. Otherwise, it looked like I was really trying to like stay centered between the hinges. Okay, there. I think I'm actually gonna pull this back. All right. Okay, we're placed. We are placed. You're not on the replay, Rosalind. You are live with me. How are you? Okay, so let's get this on. So I have it placed. Like I said, normally I do leave my white papers. You like it around the chain? I do too. It looks so much better. I usually do this with the paper on, my placement. And usually I can get a good idea in my brain about how it will look. This one, I felt like I had to take it off. It makes it a lot easier when it's flat like this. So maybe if you have a hard time envisioning it with your dresser with the white paper, maybe you could just lay it on its back and work that way. There's nothing wrong with laying a dresser on its back to work on it. All right, so let's get this on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this on. I'm gonna push on it lightly. We talked a little bit about transfer placement. One of my favorite topics because I feel like people don't talk about it enough. And I feel like it's one of those things where if you're disappointed with how your transfer looks, it's usually because you just slapped it on and you didn't cut it up. So take the time, cut it up. I use frog tape a lot, and I tape it on my piece, like frog tape, the yellow. It's not even very sticky, and I tape it on my piece first, and I lay it out, and I'll take a picture, and I move it around. Transfer placement usually takes me about 2 hours on a piece of furniture before I an hour to, as a beginner, I think it took me about 2 hours. As I've done it more, it's taking me less time. Like anything with practice, you get better. But I do a lot of transfer placements on my page. And I do plan on doing them with you guys here on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock. Okay, so I just want to keep rubbing it. I'm going to talk while I'm doing this. I always want to pack as much information into here as I can. So what I'll use to seal this is I'll varnish it the same way. I'll go over it with the finishing pad. I will not be distressing this one. And then to seal it, since this is gonna have use, I don't wanna really seal this with wax. In fact, I sealed the whole body with wax, and I left the top and I left the inside. The reason I do that is because wax is not a very durable top coat for tops in like high use areas. So, you know, if Ginger, my client, wants to work at this desk and she wants to, you know, put her laptop here, and she wants to put her iced tea there, I want to make sure this is protected. So what I'll do is I'll varnish it, and then I'll go over it with Dixie Belle's clear satin. And I found that Dixie Belle, their clear satin, seems to be the best top coat for transfers as far as like poly goes for me. Other people I'm sure use different things, but I found that I've never had a transfer like peel up or do anything like that when I've used the clear satin. After I use the clear satin, many times I will go over it with gator hide. And that just kind of gives it a heat and water resistant finish. And another thing I'll do when I do my top coats, even with transfers, is I will tint them. So I will tint my top coat with a little bit of vintage duck egg, and then I'll go over my top coat. Yes, you can see some of the paint over it, but it just kind of looks worn in and distressed. It looks more authentic. How are we doing? Do we have any questions? Hi, Sharon. How are you? Thank you. I believe too that the transfers, they say, I want to say that they're, I think the last time I read the packing, which actually was quite some time ago, probably the first time I got a transfer, they recommend that you seal with like an oil-based wax, not an oil, like a furniture wax. So that is an option too. All right, let's pull this up. Again, I like to run over it underneath it with my finger and just pull it back and just rub as I need to. You can see, like you can totally see, all right, this needs a little bit more. But look how easy that is. So easy. How do you tint the top coat? Great. It's a super great question, Lori. So how do I tint the top coat? Oh, 15 minutes. Thank you, Roz. I appreciate that so much. I wore my watch today, and I'm glad I did because my clock is off in the, my clock is off in my garage. Someone unplugged it. The joys of having children home. So when I tint a top coat, I use a bowl like this, and I would use I would fill it up to like a third of the way. And then I would put a little half a teaspoon, like a spoon, like a plastic spoon, like a teaspoon, I guess if we were talking measurements. I would put a teaspoon in there. And then I would go ahead and just go over it with a sponge. I like to use sponges. I use a sponge like this and I pull it. So that's how I tint my top coat. I would not do that over a transfer unless you've tried it before, or try it on a small spot. You may not like the look. That look doesn't bother me at all. It just kind of makes it look more worn into the paint, like more distressed in. So I'm gonna go over this hinge here, and I cut my transfer to go over it right here. And my birdie, my little birdie, his wing is gonna get clipped. I'm gonna go ahead and just adhere him to the hinge, but that will wear off. And then my flowers, I'm gonna just adhere them onto the hinge, but with the knowledge that it will wear off, and that's okay. I'm not that concerned about it. It'll just look a little distressed. I think a little bit of distressing is okay in spots where it's natural. I won't be going over this piece at all with I won't be sanding it with a sanding block and distressing it. That's not my style, and I really don't like to do that. But I'm starting to pull this up. But I do distress it in the spots where it would naturally be distressed, or where, I shouldn't even say where, okay, where it would naturally be distressed, but where I know it's gonna wear off right there, because it's just the it's just the natural process of wear and tear on a piece of furniture. Words are hard today. All right. So, oh, it lost a foot. I'm just going to lay it back down and put it on. And then I'm actually going to pull the camera off, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and just rub these on the edge, because if they'll stick, because I have wax there. Okay. Oop. Okay. So let me just push it down with my hand. Push it down on this hinge. And then I'm just going to pull that camera off. Okay, well, let me show you what that looks like. Hi, Gina. All right, so if you look here, this wing right here went over the hinge. That's okay. And then this one right here, it went over this hinge, which is okay. But for the most part, everything adhered well, and I really like the way it looks. And then see, it just kind of, it'll flow really well with the front. Hi, Gina. So, Shaz, it says, I had 2 transfers that did not want to release. It was very hard work. Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it's your paint. So what I found is my hair is crazy, you guys. The smoother the surface, the easier it is to work. Sometimes if you have heavy wood grain, or I've had factory finishes like this before that had heavy paintbrush marks, which I don't even know how you get heavy paintbrush marks like that on a factory finish, but I've had it. It's really hard to go over. So sometimes it's just a little more elbow grease, but you'll get it. You'll get it. Just the smoother surfaces, the better. So don't let that discourage you. Just find smoother surfaces. All right. Hi, Gina. Thank you, Sherry. Okay, you guys, I hope that was helpful. I will be posting the final results on June 1st. And I'm going to finish it up, and then I have some other things that are going to be released then. So I love this new transfer too. I love it so, so much. And like I said, I'm not even a bird person, but I do know that my clients love this. My clients are they love birds, so you can't even go wrong with them. But okay, I am going to get off out of here. I'll be back again Tuesday night or Tuesday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time next Tuesday with something else that might be of interest to you. So if you're like, hey, I want to see this or I want to see that, just send me a message on my page, Leah Noell Design Co. And let me know what you want to see so that I can plan these videos around things that you guys actually want to learn about and see. So, all right, everybody. See you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.